Welcome and good morning. I am Command Master Chief David Martinez, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies for today's event. On behalf of the Director of the Academy, I would like to welcome you to the graduation for U.S. Navy Senior Enlisted Academy Class 247. 7 weeks ago, 118 individuals began their journey. They enrolled in the SEA to become better educated and better leaders. Today, they are not here as individuals, but as one team, a team of educated senior enlisted leaders. Class 247 is represented by the U.S. Navy, Air Force, Army, Marine Corps, and U.S. Space Force. To our partner nation students, this may have been your first experience with a sometimes very outspoken group of individuals known as the Chiefs Mess. And for those who are accustomed to it, thank you for making all of us better. And now I would like to welcome the Director of the Senior Enlisted Academy, Master Chief Baron Randall.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, students and staff. To Class 247, congratulations. To Class 247, I say, if you are ever asked about your experience at the SEA, I truly believe that you can easily say, I received a quality leadership education in a formal setting. However, never forget all the papers, the speeches, and briefs you completed had one common goal: improve our ability to lead and communicate at an executive level. Based on our observation, you have clearly exceeded this goal. However, the staff tells me that I've experienced it, you have proven communication can occur in many different and creative ways. I'd also like to take a few minutes to thank the staff of the SEA. They have worked hard under challenging conditions to be the agile and adaptive leaders needed to provide you the best leadership education possible. Without them, the SEA would be at a standstill. So thank you to everyone on staff. Students, please give me a moment to give a round of applause to our staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. When the students enrolled in the Senior Enlisted Academy, we advised them that the true goals of the Academy's educational process are to expand their leadership capabilities and strengthen their commitment to the profession of arms, not grades and awards. We do, however, believe our awards program is in harmony with these goals by objectively recognizing the effort and performance of these professionals. Therefore, we are pleased to present the award for Class 247. Selection is based on academic achievement, communication abilities, leadership initiative, and recommendations from their faculty advisors. The Chief McKenna Award for the Excellence in Written Communications is sponsored by the Northeast New England Regional President of Fleet Reserve Association. The graduate who brings to the forefront examples of written military heritage that exemplify our pride in service and our great history as a nation. The nominees are: from Blue Group, Chief Vanessa Whitney; from Brown Group, Senior Chief Antonio Martinez; from Gold Group, Sergeant Major Cesar Ruiz; from Gray Group, Master Sergeant Louis Lowe; from Green Group, First Sergeant Jamie Lampley; from Khaki Group, Senior Chief Brian Morgan; from Orange Group, Chief Shakia Suggs; from Purple Group, Senior Chief Paul Doty; and from Red Group, Chief Dominique Saavedra. And the award winner is Chief Shakia Suggs. Congratulations, Chief Suggs. We believe the greatest recognition the Senior Enlisted Academy can bestow upon any individual is its diploma. A diploma which signifies the completion of the highest and most rigorous level of enlisted professional military education. We will now recognize the diplomas to the graduates. Diplomas for Blue Group. Group Faculty Advisor, Master Chief Philip LaCourte. Graduates, Senior Chief Whitney Birch. Chief Jeffrey Crawford. Senior Chief Zalando Don. Master Sergeant Michael Doer. Chief Joel Felder. Master Chief Michael Haraberta. Chief Jeffrey Kincaid. Senior Chief Ryan Markham. Chief Jason Martin. Senior Chief Stephen Robinson. Senior Chief Anthony Fordonen. Senior Chief Christine Tyler. Senior Chief Esmelin Viller. And Chief Vanessa Whitney. Diplomas for Brown Group. Brown Group Faculty Advisor, Master Chief Matthew Dooley. Graduates. Chief Leslie Cachero. Chief Kevin Farr. Master Sergeant Mark Gillette. Senior Chief Abdul Kasimkeru. Senior Chief Michael Lewis. Senior Chief Russell Manio. Chief Alejandro Marquez. Senior Chief Antonio Martinez. Chief Jillian Milanese. Chief Matthew Moore. Senior Chief Kenyatta Poré. Chief Jermaine Reed. And Senior Chief Demarcado Williams. Diplomas for Gold Group. Gold Group Faculty Advisor, Master Chief Jeremy Colton. Graduates, Chief Laura Anderson. Senior Chief Richard Burnell. Chief Michael Chin. Senior Chief Eric Dines. Senior Chief Dominic Feliciano. Chief Louis Finger. Senior Chief Nicholas Humphrey. Chief Andrew Jansen. Senior Chief Malcolm Kay. Chief Tabit Quo. Senior Chief Michael Levy. Chief Ryan Newman. Sergeant Major Cesar Ruiz. And Senior Chief Michael Wagenbach. Diplomas for Gray Group. Gray Group Faculty Advisor, Master Chief Terrence Wright. Graduates, Senior Chief Kenneth Adkins. Senior Chief Rashad Alston. Chief Arnell Angeles. Senior Chief Sonny Bim. Senior Chief Micah Hill. Chief Rose Howell. Senior Chief Cassandra Hoolander. Chief Christopher Johnson. Master Sergeant Louis Lowe. Senior Chief Luke Mangini. Chief Sayeda Marshall. Senior Chief William Roberts. And Chief Larry Thomas. Diplomas for Green Group. Green Group Faculty Advisor, Master Chief Lou Powell. Graduates, Senior Chief Titus Ammon. Chief Nick Burrows. Senior Chief Peter DeLucalecki. Chief Kivia Hammock. Senior Chief Gregory Herbertson. Senior Chief Kyle Hubbard. Chief Britt Jones. Senior Chief Jamie Lampley. Chief Celia McKenzie. Master Sergeant Kelly Nelson. Senior Chief Tessa Perno. Chief Victor Perry. And Senior Chief Terrence Simmons. Diplomas for Khaki Group. Khaki Group, Faculty Advisor, Sergeant Major Robert Alvarez. Graduates. First Sergeant Jeremy Bland. Chief Derek Christian. Senior Chief Kyle Compton. Chief Eduardo Florenzano. Senior Chief Crystal Graham. Senior Chief Carl Higdon. Senior Chief James Huffman. Senior Chief Brian Morgan. Senior Chief Frank Popolo. Chief Eric Sanders. Senior Chief William Van Dyke. Senior Chief Jacob Watts. And Chief Jennifer Whitaker. Diplomas for Orange Group. Orange Group, Faculty Advisor, Abusta Bootsman, Lars Appitz. Graduates, Chief Lukmani Andre, Senior Chief Jeffrey Armentrout, Senior Chief Daniel Blandford, Chief Ontario Irby, Chief Derek Farrell, Senior Chief Christopher Flint, Chief Laquan Hansley, Senior Chief Jerome Ruffins, Senior Chief Janine Sims Cologne, Chief Richard Seneeth, Chief James Speakerman, Chief Shakia Suggs, and Chief Rashania Weaver. Diplomas for Purple Group. Purple Group Faculty Advisor, Senior Master Sergeant Jeffrey Cassio. Graduates, Senior Chief Joshua Beekman, Chief Taslimi Carter, Senior Chief Paul Doty, Chief Evan Ellis, Senior Chief Richard Howe, Chief Emmanuel Ilfram, Master Sergeant Marcus Jenkins, Senior Chief Jonathan Marfield, Senior Chief Jasmine Martin, Senior Chief Adam McGill, Chief Robert Rydell, Chief Mashonda Sneed, and Chief Stephen Sullivan. Diplomas for Red Group. Group Faculty Advisor for Red Group, Senior Chief Henry Nickel. Graduates, Senior Chief Richard Binner, Senior Chief Jorge Carrillo Brabino, Chief Timothy Clark, Chief Amaris Gonzalez, Chief Raymond Hillard, Senior Chief Rodney Locke, Chief Javian Menzie, Chief Joseph Palladino, Senior Chief Robert Renfro, Chief Dominique Saavedra, Master Sergeant Mark Sheetenhelm, and Chief Catherine Weathers. Congratulations, Class 247. Now I'll turn it over to the Director for final remarks.
Class 247, now that you have successfully completed SEA and now are SEA alumni, it is my hope that you graduate the Senior Enlisted Academy reinvigorated and even more ready to continue leading with new tools in your arsenal. Our Navy and nation are counting on you. Class 247, I leave you with this in mind. We must maintain a posture to deliver, operate, and maintain the Navy the nation needs, with the focus on our core values, core roles of sea control and power projection as CNO Gilday stated in his Now Plan 2021. We must also continue to provide counsel to our commanders, understand warrior toughness, and have the necessary conversations in our chief's mess. Train our sailors, Marines, airmen, and Coast Guardsmen to outthink and outfight any adversary. I challenge you to always self-evaluate and ask yourself, how will I lead? How will I train? How do I motivate and develop the leaders today for the challenges of tomorrow? We must always be a force ready to act confidently and adapt quickly to compete and win in day-to-day, in crisis, and if need be, in conflict. Congratulations again, and please continue to take care of yourselves, take care of your families, take care of your sailors. Be you, live well.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our graduation ceremony for Class 247. Thank you for attending.